Hello. Today's episode is for those of you who are waiting on the sidelines of life, hesitating and just waiting for life to happen. And I'm here to remind you that if you're waiting for life to happen, then life will just continue passing you by. I'm going to tell you a story from my own life experience, and I'm going to encourage you and tell you why this is the time for you to jump in and live your life as an active participant. So probably you've been dreaming, you've been disappointed in the past and you've given up on your dreams, but I'm here to remind you that those dreams are valid, and unless you make them happen, then they definitely will not happen. And before we jump in, I just want to remind you to like this video and hit the subscribe button. I publish 3 videos a week, and if you hit subscribe, then you will definitely be notified each time that I publish a new video. One of my dreams as an adult has been to actually live on a farm, so rent an actual apartment on a farm. And a few weeks ago, the opportunity presented itself, and it presented itself in a way that was so easy. Everything just lined up, worked out well, and here I go. I'm now a city girl living on a farm. So up until now in my adult life, I've always lived in the city because I love the close proximity to cafes, my friends and family. So I wanted a farm that balances those things. So I'm still pretty close enough to my family. So I'm not too far from my family. I can just hop in the car and drive, or they can jump in the car and drive here. And again, whilst a few fears kicked in, I do have to say the coffee around here is not the best. So when I do go to the city, then I definitely have to get good coffee, or I might probably consider getting a coffee machine. And I've never liked the idea of a coffee machine because I love the idea of being out in an actual cafe. So the big disadvantages is that there is an actual cafe around here, and the cafes have got views for days because it's just along the river. So most of the time, if you're sitting in the cafe, you can just see boats passing by. It's really beautiful. And again, the thing that really motivated me to make such a move is the silence. I love driving a lot in the countryside, so now I do get to drive in the countryside when I'm going to church or when I'm going to visit my family and friends. I do most of my work from home, meaning I don't need to drive every day. So when I do drive to visit friends and go to the city, it is really special. The silence in the country is way more than the silence in the city. So you get to be able to listen to your thoughts. I just feel so much more creative around here as well. So what about you? What is one dream that is on your bucket list, or something that you've always desired to happen, but maybe you've put it off, or you've given up hope of that ever happening? And I know for some of us, when the year starts, we set these amazing resolutions, and that's fine. I think that's amazing. But the problem is people want short-term gain, like you just want to see your goals happen straight away, and when it doesn't happen, you become disillusioned and you give up. But right now, even if we're in the middle of the year, whatever time that you're watching this, it is the time to actually think about whatever is on your bucket list, the things you want to do, the dreams, the desires that you have, and start looking around for ways to actually make it happen. I find that for me. So for me, I am traditional, so I have the vision board, but this year I took my vision board to the next level. I actually went on Canva and I made a mind movie. So I put all these pictures together and I took those pictures from Pinterest, and part of that was my desire for a beautiful apartment like this, which has views for days, silence, horses next door. And it's part of that. So each morning when I'm doing my morning routine, or sometimes in the evenings or afternoons, depending on how the day goes, I get to look at that mind movie. So my dreams are a realistic part of my life every day because I keep in touch with them and look at them each and every day. So I'm just going to share with you a few life lessons I've learned when it comes to living your life now and not waiting for life to happen. The first lesson is listen to your heart. It will lead you to a place of bliss, especially if you do not lose heart. One of my favorite reads over the past 4 years has been The Alchemist. And if you haven't read that book, it's a short, small read. It's for the dreamers like me, those who believe in things that are impossible. And of course, if you're a skeptic, you're not going to like The Alchemist. But high chances are, if you're watching this video, you're probably a similar person in the sense that you believe in your dreams, a part of you believes in your goals, a part of you believes in jumping into life headlong. And if this is you, definitely with The Alchemist. So it's a story of a young shepherd boy. His name is Santiago, and he decides he actually asks his father for his inheritance. His father gives him a few coins, and then he decides to buy some sheep because he realizes that in order for him to travel the world, then he needs sheep, because with sheep he can travel to different areas, and as they feed, as he finds them pasture, sheep will provide him companionship. They'll provide him money when he gets to those different places. When he has he can shear the sheep every year, sell the wool, and get money and sustenance. And as he has the sheep, he can also find food, find all these new towns, have these new experiences. So he decides to become a shepherd boy. And then he starts traveling as a shepherd boy, and he starts having these dreams. He gets to this old Spanish church, starts having these dreams. And in this dream, he's dreaming about treasure. And in that dream, the treasure lies at is buried somewhere at the bottom. And he thinks it's buried at the pyramids of Egypt. So then he sells his sheep. And along the way, he comes along all these different guidelines and omens or hints that lead him further along his way, because he has a vision in mind. He has a dream. His dream is to find treasure. And as he journeys to the pyramids of Egypt, he falls in love twice. The first time he falls in love, he thinks he's in love, but he really isn't. And the second time, he's really, really in love with this girl from the pyramids. He gets beaten by thieves, nearly dies along the way. He meets this guy called the Alchemist, who is a person who has the ability to purify metal until it becomes gold. So it's a man who can actually create gold. So he goes through all these experiences only to realize that he's gone around the world to find treasure, but the treasure was actually back in his homeland at that old Spanish church where he first started having those dreams. But he needed to go through the journey around in order for him to get back to where he was. And I find that that's the same case with us. We all have dreams, we all have vision, we all have goals, especially when we're young and we're naive. And as we get older, we try to make things happen, and then we fail. So as a result, we stop dreaming, we stop trying to make things happen. But then the thing is, only 20% of the world population actually sets goals, and of those 20% who do, only 30% actually achieve them, because it takes time and it takes persistence. And I found that personally in my life, I have been finding the theme of persistence really coming up in my life, particularly because it took me a lot of years to actually, think, okay, you know what, I'm going to quit my full-time job. I'm going to pursue a career in consulting. I'm going to start a business online. And it took me a long time to actually establish myself. And there's so many times when I nearly gave up because I was course correcting, changing, until I realized that I wasn't giving up all those times. I was simply pivoting. But there's one common theme that has stayed with me over the years. I've never given up. I've always pivoted, grown, learned, pivoted, grown, learned, gone to the next level. And then now I feel like in this season of my life, there's that theme of completeness that is coming up. And you know what? It has actually been 7 years. It has actually been 7 years. It's coming up to 7 years since that day when I decided that, you know what, I want to change the course of my life. So what about you? Maybe you tried to get fit and then you did it for 2 months. The skill wasn't budging and then you gave up. But I just want to encourage you that you know why you have that dream and vision. Maybe it's because you want to get pregnant, have kids, and you want to be a healthy parent, and that is your drive for becoming fit. Or you want longevity, you want a long, healthy life, or you want to enjoy time with your spouse, and part of it involves you being physically fit. So I just want to say, do not give up on that, because dreams and goals are not so much about the gain. Usually it's monetary, it's physical, it's spiritual. It's not so much about the gain, but it's actually about the process. It's about the person you become in the process of achieving those goals. So I want you to go back to the drawing board, to the beginning, to the desires that you had, the excitement that you felt for your dreams and your goals. And I want you to remind yourself of that and start making that journey. If you have actually stopped, so now you're on the sidelines, you're just waiting for life to happen, you're like, you know what, I'm doomed. I'm just doomed to work in a place I hate until I die. I'm doomed to be in this toxic relationship until who knows what happens. I just want to tell you that things can change, and you can actually change it if you do not lose hope. Go back, start taking the action, start being persistent. And I think that social media does us a disservice, because people make all these clickbait videos. Are like, oh, how I manifested my dream life in 3 days, or how I manifested this in 1 week, and stuff like that, right? And they're telling you about how to do things quickly, or how I became a millionaire by 19 years old, or how I started my YouTube channel and it blew up within 1 month. But the truth is, when you actually click on those kind of content and you watch it, they reveal to you the process that is behind. I know, let's say for me right now, I'm here creating these YouTube videos. I actually started on YouTube 4 years ago, started creating some clips. I wasn't consistent. So of course, since I wasn't consistent, I wasn't growing, gave up on that. I was like, oh, this is hard work, right? And then I pivoted. I started creating a whole different content altogether. I wasn't specific. I was consistent. I remember I was publishing videos at least once a week, and I was trying to grow as quickly as I could, until when I lost the vision for that channel. I felt like I healed. I was trying to solve a particular problem that came from a pain point that I had, and once I healed, I really lost the desire for that channel. Hence now coming back to this channel again, and whatever you do, it involves persistence, consistency, effort. And I just want to encourage you to dream again. Stop waiting on those sidelines. The second life lesson to help you start living your life now instead of waiting on the sidelines is learn from past mistakes, learn from the things that you call regrets, and glean the life lessons from them. Because if you don't, you will keep on repeating the same mistakes over and over again until you learn the lesson. And you know what? A very clear example is in the area of relationships. You've met those guys or those girls, right, who always seem to be in the same negative relationship over and over again. They always have that girl who will let them down, the girl who will cheat on them, the girl who will run off on them, or the girl who will bash them online. Like, just this girl who's just bad news for them, but still they keep on recreating the same situation because they haven't taken the time to learn from past mistakes. So when it comes to you, I know, we might view the word mistake as negative. I don't view a mistake as something that is wrong or something that is negative. I view the word mistake as life lessons. The things that, the output that happened from the experiences that you were going through in life. And probably it's because you were trying something out. You tried out this amazing business idea. You didn't make money from it. Actually, you lost a lot of money from it. And now you are regretting that situation, right? I remember for me, when it came to progressing in my career, I actually took a career break. I think it's 7 years now. I took a career break, right? And there was a time once, and I needed it, and I wasn't thinking of it in terms of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be behind. But once I came out of it, I looked around and I could see that my peers were ahead of me. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I've lost this time because I slowed down in order to reflect, in order to learn, in order to allow myself to go through what I was going through. And I remember some regret coming up until I realized that no, life is actually not a race. I haven't lost out on time. In fact, I have gained time because I've taken the time to evaluate my life choices and think about where it is I want to go. So when you look at your past mistakes or regrets, what is there to learn? Are you gleaning the life lessons from that situation? So if you were unfairly dismissed from your past job, look at what was your part in that. How can you change things so that you're not walking into the same scenario for your next job? Were you involved in a situation where there was bullying and harassment at work, and then you felt like you were sidelined as a result of that? Look at the kind of attitude you had when you walked in, and then when you look back, think about how you can actually change, what you can actually learn from that situation, so that when you walk into the next opportunity, you're not recreating the same drama, you're not recreating the same situation. Instead, you're wiser, you have grown, and you're making better decisions from that. The third life lesson is don't be rigid. Embrace new life lessons and change, evolve, be fluid as you go. I think that one of the biggest tests of life is flexibility. You know, life throws you what you think is a curveball and you're like, no, I wanted my bananas. And life is throwing you apples. But how can you actually take that apple and create a situation from that apple? So are you being rigid in some areas of your life? Where have you been rigid? Where are you holding on to a fixed idea and you are unwilling to change and evolve as you grow? Because life takes us into situations that we never saw coming, but instead of you just lying there, now you just stop at the side of the road. How can you actually just change your view, change your picture, change the dream that you had to evolve with how life is going for you? Number 4 is run after your fears, and even if you're afraid, do it anyway. I actually made a video the other week, I'll link into it, about fear, how to stop fear, and it was how to stop fear. It's not what you think. And you know what? It's the most viewed video on this channel. I was like, oh, okay, I guess fear is real, you know, because it just blew, the video just blew compared to the other videos here. It just blew up. So it really made me realize how fear is actually a real part of people's lives. And if you haven't watched that video, I'm gonna link to that video below. Definitely go watch it, and I'll link to it at the end of the video as well. Definitely do watch it. So in what areas are you letting fear hold you back? And maybe the problem is whenever you felt fear in the past or in the present, you stop. You take it to mean I am taking too many risks, I am moving away from the common path, so I need to stop, and then you let this fear stop you. But I just want to challenge you today. In the areas where you're experiencing fear, I want you to feel the fear and to go after the fear. Take the risk, take the action that is needed for you to get to the next step. Feel that fear anyway, and do the actions that are needed to be done. Don't wait for the fear to go away. I actually use fear as a guiding compass because it makes me alive. It's like excitement, right? That's why people love watching, horror movies, because people just want to elicit some sort of emotion, right? So it's not a bad thing for you to be feeling afraid because of the dreams that you've set or the goals that you've set in the past. Feel the fear and keep on moving ahead anyway. The 5th thing just is a reminder to you is your dreams are valid. Your dreams are valid. Don't give up on them. It reminds me of the story in the Bible where Jesus talks about knock on the door and the door will be opened for you. Seek and you shall find. And I remember, I think yesterday our pastor was sharing in church about the story of the persistent widow, and this is the story of a widow who goes to an evil judge with a case, and the judge ignores her. She keeps on going to that judge, and the judge is like, you know what, I might be evil, I might not care what people think or say about me, but this woman is gonna wear me down by her request, so I'm just gonna say yes to her. And then the judge gives in and grants her request, and that is the same same thing with life. You know, doors open for you if you do not give up. Do not give up. You can course correct, you can pivot, but do not give up. Keep going, because I just want to reassure you that if your dream is yours, then it is valid, and no one else needs to believe in it. You know, like other people, you're waiting for other people to believe in the dream that you have and to reassure you. It doesn't work that way. I remember for me years back when I knew I needed to quit my job, I did not seek anyone's validation or anyone's approval. I only shared with one person, but I didn't share it with the key important people. I didn't feel like I needed to consult my mom, my sisters, my pastor. I didn't. I just told them after the fact that, guess what, guys? This is what I've done, because I knew I needed to do that in order to move to the next stage of my life, in order for me to create the clarity that I needed at that particular stage of my life. And you know what? I'm sharing my life experiences. I'm not telling anyone what to do here. I'm just sharing the journey I've been through. And I just want to reassure you that your dreams are valid, even if you're the only one who gets them. Sixth thing is, don't wait. The time will never be just right. How many times do people wait until it is the best time to start investing, or the best time to get married, or the best time to start a family, or the best time to start a business? They're like, you know what? I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing because I'm waiting for the weather to change. But you know, the Bible says that the farmer who observes the sky never plants. Like if you're just there contemplating the weather conditions, you will never take action. So the timing will never be just right. Something will come up, you know, to disturb you. Something will come up to stop you from doing that. No wonder why only 20% set goals and only 30% of those 20% actually achieve them, because the timing will never be just right. You know, you have to make the timing line up for yourself in order, instead of waiting for the clouds and the sun and the stars to align for you. And you know what? I'm not undermining those people, you know, who believe in waiting until things are aligned for them to take actions. I think there are particular things, there are particular areas where that needs to be said and done. But probably for you and your goals right now, you're just waiting. You know, there's no alignment that is coming. This is the time for you to take the step. Number 7 is reframe and release subconscious limitations that hold you back. Don't let them fly under the radar for too long. I hear people, they're adults now, and they still point to their childhood as the cause for why they are the way they are, right? But you can never go back and change the education you had. You cannot change the parents you had, the friends, the siblings you had whilst you were growing up. So really take some time to look at the under the radar subconscious limitations that hold you back. This might be things from your past, things from your present. It might be looking at the current economic conditions and then letting that hold you back. What are those subconscious limitations? And it's really important for you to uncover them, because even if you look at the economy right now, when you study history, the economy has gone up and down. And whenever the economy goes down, there's a transfer of wealth. So if you're waiting in the sidelines because you're like, oh my gosh, the economy, there are people who are making progress and building their dreams and building businesses. There are people who are making massive strides. They are embracing their faith and they're doing the things, you know, they are just stepping out in faith. And there's always a reward for those who step out in faith, for those who trust, who believe that no matter what the conditions are, they can actually make a change and do the things they need to do in order to change their lives. To finish off, I have a special surprise for you guys. So I'm going to read to you this poem called Desiderata. And for those of you that are still not convinced, you're like, oh, I'm happy in the sidelines, I'm just waiting for my life to happen. I just want to read this poem for you because it has meant a lot to me growing up, because my dad actually bought Desiderata. It was big and framed. This is just a card that I bought. It was big and framed, and growing up we had Desiderata in our house. And you know, with my sisters, we love reading, and since the poem was on the wall in our house, we used to read it all the time. So There have been times when we've actually recited this poem or portions of it off by head, because we would read it all the time. And I just want you to listen to this poem, and you can always go look up Desiderata online, but I'm just going to read this to you in conclusion. So it's called Desiderata. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. Even the dull and ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons, they are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you as to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive Him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy. And this poem was written by Max Ehrmann. I think it's many, many years old, and I just love the Desiderata. I truly hope that this episode will inspire you to stop sitting on the sidelines of life and actually jump in and continue taking action on your dreams and goals, because you're worthy of it and they're valid. And if you haven't done so already, like seriously, hit the subscribe button and also like this video. And if this video truly inspired you, I want to ask you to do me a special favor and just share this video with someone that you love, and just tell them that, you know what, you need to hear this message. Here's this beautiful message from Lorraine straight to you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next episode.